7 silhouettes will appear on the gallows at dawn. The executioner is already preparing to drown the down in reverie, because the new day will be a grave for 7 brave men. Edwin S. Porter's movie named The Great Train Robbery in 1930 is considered to be as the first Western production in the history of cinema. Porter has laid the foundation of not only Western culture but also action patterns with this movie. We can still find the evidence today that he has inspired many filmmakers. Over the next 50 years, Western culture has also undergone a great transformation. The driving force behind this transformation was that Hollywood was nourished with movie examples from other countries. Akira Kurosawa was undoubtedly the most important master that influencing Western cinema. The Magnificent Seven, which was adapted from Kurosawa's legendary movie Seven Samurai from 1954, is the production which this influence is felt most dominant for. In the movie, adapted to Western concept by John Sturges in 1960, Hollywood legends such as Hugh Brenner, Steve McQueen, James Coburn, and Charles Bronson take their place. The Magnificent Seven is at the top of the very hyped Western classics list today. So much so that this production returned to the screen in 1966 under the leadership of Hugh Brenner, but sadly the producers didn't find what they hoped for. In 1972, The Magnificent Seven Ride, another sequel which led by Lee Van Cleef, shared the same fate. In 1998, the spirit of Magnificent Seven was recalled once again for a television adaptation that lasted for 2 seasons. Finally, in 2016, remake traditions were fulfilled with the new model The Magnificent Seven, directed by Antoine Fuqua. In general, we can say that no sequel or remake attempt captured the glory of the first movie. What a surprise, isn't it? We know that Western culture is seen in many parts of the world and lives differently in every culture. Especially, Italian spaghetti Western movies become more dominant and enjoyable than the examples we encountered in the new continent at that time. Of course, to hope that will not come to Turkey would be completely wrong. The first Turkish Western movie was The Ambition Revenger, İntikam Hırsı in Turkish, directed by Ahmet Sert, whose main profession was shoe repairer. After this movie, which was released in 1963, the Western trend started to spread rapidly to Turkish cinema. Yılmaz Güney, which was one of the Turkey's most skillful director, he was interested in Western genre, is known worldwide. Güney, who has made some of the most well-known Western movies of the country's cinema, also frequently used Western aesthetics in movies outside of the genre. In 1966, by the way, it was coincidence that it was the same year as the sequel to The Magnificent Seven. Yeah. After the movie named Cowboy Ali met the audience, Yılmaz Güney appeared in many Western movies. Let's quickly get into our main task. Turkish Magnificent Seven. Seven Troublemaker. Yedi Belalı Adam in Turkish. The producer and director of the movie was İrfan Atasoy, who is also a huge Western lover. Atasoy, while adapting the cut of The Magnificent Seven in Turkey, he also set a high example of Western pleasure outlooking. But unfortunately, the original copies of the movie could not be preserved. Even the copy we can reach today is a copy that came out years later and could not be restored. It's still one of the treasures that waiting to be discovered movie in Turkish cinema history. In the movie, Gang of Benoş, which includes 7 talented gunslingers, fight against the fascist villain team. It follows to the course of The Magnificent Seven in terms of narrative. The prisoner named Ali Osman, who gave a false statement, was brought to the village to be brought to court. Ali was soon captured by our main villain named Sırtlan. Gang of Benash comes to the rescue for Ali Osman and boom! You already know how things will develop from now on. The gang attracts all the troublemakers like a huge magnet, but in this way there are new allies joining the gang. In this way again, the relentless struggle of Vict begins with the 7 brave gunslingers of the gang of Benosh. Yeah, of course, the village turns into a war zone soon. Although there is a stylized adaptation, very little detail is now about the movie. Even some of the information available on the internet today is so inconsistent. Truly, a huge loss for a remarkable Western attempt. The Western aesthetics and atmosphere captured by the movie are so remarkable. Of course, there are just what we can feel. In addition, a large number of the fans of Yılmaz Güney in Turkey is demanding the restoration of this movie. I hope one day all of our wishes will be fulfilled. Until that day, we will continue to remember these 7 brave men with huge respect. Farewell, gringos, and thank you very much.
Şerefine doktorcuğum. Ha ha ha ha ha ha!